I've spent my training journey trying to stop being the skinny guy at 70 kilos with stick arms and trying to put on as much muscle as I can. I've not reached final form yet, but I'm significantly bigger than I was at the start of the journey, but it's come with a lot of trial and error and was not perfect from the start. This is going to be the same for most skinny guys. No one starts off gym at day one knowing how to do everything perfectly. And perfection often comes with time and repetition, but there are some things that are often overlooked and ignored at the start of most people's training journeys. So if I did have to restart gym again at 70 kilos, here's everything I would make sure I have dialed down right from the start. First is finding the perfect program. Spend 10 minutes scrolling reels and you'll be told about 15 different programs that are all the best ones that you should follow, and each one of those will also slag off all the other ones. The biggest rule for finding the perfect split is going to be to do the one that you enjoy doing the most and is going to keep you coming back to the gym. Muscle is very simple. It doesn't grow based on whether you train shoulders and arms on the same day or whether you separate them. These sorts of things are often very small, more advanced level things that will also only make a small difference. As long as your split is enjoyable, allows for enough recovery and follows a decent frequency, I would say at least 2 times per week is a good spot, then you're good. The absolute worst thing you can do is constantly switch programs because you're just never giving it enough time to work. I have followed many splits, full body, upper lower, push-pull legs, literally all of them work. If I was to start again, I'd probably go with exactly what I'm doing now, which is upper lower rest repeat. This allows for a really good frequency, 2.5 times per week, and I'm really enjoying it at the moment, but that's literally why. Something that's very overlooked is as simple as actually learning how to train properly to build muscle. I'm talking about intensity, standardized form, and knowing how to use progressive overload properly. Intensity first, you have to train close to failure to build muscle. As a beginner, your perception of reps in reserve is going to be rubbish because you don't know how to predict and utilize this properly. So even though 0 to 3 reps in reserve is good for muscle growth, as a beginner, I would take most of my sets all the way to failure. Now, if you're doing something like a bench press or a barbell squat, maybe be smart and don't just let yourself get crushed. Keep a rep or reserve in for that. But stuff like curls and rows, why not? It's a really good way to learn proper intensity. Standardized form is also very, very important. This is going to be great for tracking progression properly and actually making sure that you're using the right muscles in your lifts. If your form is different every single time you come to the gym, you are probably ego lifting, and ego lifting is dumb. You aren't actually progressing the lift if the lift doesn't look the same. There is a difference between going to proper failure, where you can't keep good form anymore and the muscle is absolutely fried, rather than failure being where you just move the weight by any means necessary and all of your reps just look crap. In terms of form, your reps should always look the same. The only visual difference is the speed of the rep as you get to the last few, because it's become more difficult to complete. And finally, you should know how to use progressive overload properly. There is a bit of a misconception that you absolutely have to lift more every single week in order to grow. Progression is not something that you're going to see every single session. You should be seeing an upwards trend over time, but you won't see your lifts go up every single session. So if you're taking last week's numbers and forcing yourself to hit that extra rep by ego lifting, you're not actually using progressive overload properly. This is literally the best tracking tool for strength and progress, but to use it properly, you have to have standardized form. And to keep progressing, you must be training with a good intensity. Exercise selection can be insanely overcomplicated. Sure, there are some exercises that can be better than others if we're talking about stability and setup and things like that, but these are not exercises that are going to magically transform your physique. If you're forcing yourself to do something you hate because you've been told it's optimal, you shouldn't do it. What you should do is pick the exercises that you enjoy the most, because these are the ones that you're going to perform the best and keep doing. If you hate a machine preacher curl but you love doing a standing dumbbell curl, just do the dumbbell curl. As long as you're not doing something really stupid like a plate press, exercise selection is not that deep. Find the exercises you enjoy, stick with them and progress them, and you will grow. Now we'll do a couple of common mistakes to finish. Chasing fatigue is a big one. People often think that to get the most growth, they literally have to do the most that they physically can. You don't have to train to the point where you can barely lift your arms or even be able to walk out of the gym at the end. I did this at the start of my training and it just wasn't needed. If I had spent that time instead learning how to do a sensible amount of sets, trained with good form, really close to failure, then I would have seen much better progress. Don't get caught up doing this, it's just not worth it. Recovery is another one that's massively overlooked. Obviously the hour or two that you spend doing your lifts and in the gym are very, very important, but what you do outside of the gym is just as important. Making sure you prioritise sleep, you eat well, and you don't overdo volume to the point that you can't progress or recover is very, very important. But to wrap up, if there's one thing to take from this, it's that building muscle is nowhere near as complicated as it's made out to be. If you make a program you enjoy, train hard, stick with it and progress over time, you will see really good results. If this helps you, I also offer one-to-one coaching. You can inquire about this on any of my socials. And also looking to make a nutrition and a mindset version of these, so if you did find this helpful, make sure to subscribe.